chosen freeholders is hereby called to order. Madam Clerk, can you please call roll?
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Present.
Freeholder Vice President Gill, absent. Freeholder Johnson, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Present.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Richardson.
Here.
Freeholder Sebald.
Here.
Freeholder Toro.
Present.
Freeholder President Timberlake.
Here. Okay. We're going to stand to salute our flag. I'm going to ask if Freeholder Jones please lead us in that salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. I have before me a certification from the clerk that this meeting is indeed in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Madam President, there are none.
Are there any topics of discussion?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, moving to public comment session. If there's any members of the public wishing to comment on agenda items only, please come forward, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak, monitored by the clock to my right. And I would like to recognize Freeholder Rufus Johnson, who's present with us.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Maura Nelson. I live in Bloomfield, New Jersey. I'm here to talk a little bit tonight briefly about Night of Conversation. It's a resolution that is being passed here this evening. I'm Director of Drug Policy Forum with an organization called Action Together New Jersey, and I was recently recognized as an advocacy leader with the National Council for Alcoholism and Drug Dependence. Night of Conversation designates one night a year for families to talk about alcohol and drug issues, use and misuse with young people, children, age appropriate, of course. So I had asked Freeholder Gill and Luciano to pass this resolution designating here in Essex County November 9th as Night of Conversation. So I would like to thank the freeholders for passing this resolution. It means a lot to me and all of the advocates, the families, the parents, anybody that's impacted by substance use disorders. So I speak on behalf of everyone in thanking you for recognizing the importance of this and for joining us in this fight. And secondly, I'd like to invite you to the first annual Essex County Night of Conversation event, which will be held on December 5th in Bloomfield. I'm hosting that together with Assemblywoman Maura Nelson. It's at 7 p.m. on December 5th. And I'd love to have you all there in attendance to support this important cause. As you may know, we lost 65,000 people to overdose in this country last year alone. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jay Arena, and I would like to speak to item 11, the 2017 county budget, insertions of items of revenue from the State of New Jersey Department of Human Services. These revenue for human services is very important. There's many unmet needs here in Newark and around Essex County. We need many more dollars for housing, for education, for health care. But we should not be generating revenue in this county, in this state, or in this country by trafficking in human bodies, by warehousing immigrant men and women here in Essex County, here at the Essex County Jail, with a contract from ICE that is approximately 5% of the revenues generated by the government of Essex County. That is blood money. We need to raise revenue to meet human needs, but it should not come from contracts from ICE, from the Trump administration, to detain 800 immigrants right here in the city, a supposed sanctuary city, and there's discussions of making New Jersey a sanctuary state. Well, we say that is a farce, while you have 800 beds to imprison immigrants without charge. These are without charge. We consider this a concentration camp. And so we call on the Essex County freeholders, all of you, Essex County County Executive Joseph DiVincenzo, who signed the 10-year contract to have 800 beds, 800 cells to imprison immigrants. We say, and you have that right under that contract, to immediately, underscore, immediately break that contract and end this concentration camp right in our own backyard. And we call on other counties who are also generating blood money, such as in Hudson County, Monmouth County, and we call for the closure of the private facility, the for-profit facility in Elizabeth, as part of ending the entire deportation regime in the United States. If we are going to stop the impending attack on the 800,000 DACA students, young people, if we are going to stop the attack on our Haitian brothers and sisters, Honduran and Central Americans, we need to immediately shut this down now.
Thank you. Are there other members of the public wishing to comment on any resolution at all?
I'm always shorter than the person.
You can take the mic off, I understand.
There we go, I'm okay now. My name is Elizabeth Redwine, and I'm with a group called Essex Rising. I see some familiar faces from some meetings. And I just want to echo what Mr. Arena said. I don't know if any of you have been to the ICE detention center. It's horrifying that this exists.
I apologize for the record.
Oh, it's for number 11 on the budget.
Thank you.
And I echo what the previous speaker said, that we do need funding for health and for human services and for important programs. But we cannot get this funding on the backs of our immigrant brothers and sisters. And so I beg you to go visit that facility to see how we're getting money from these 800 beds that are so, the facility is in such disrepair. It is so horrible. It is such an example of mistreatment. We've all read in the news, there is a 10-year-old in Texas. We all know about this girl, and if you don't, you should. So I'm hoping you're following the news. I'm hoping you're learning about the mistreatment at these centers. Elizabeth is no different. I was fortunate enough to meet a wonderful young man from Nigeria who arrived in the airport and was shackled and brought to the ICE detention center for 4 months. He did get asylum, so he was fortunate enough to get asylum, but I don't think he'll ever forget that experience. So I encourage you to get involved with groups like First Friends, to write letters to the detainees to get a sense of the conditions there, and to no longer make money off of the backs of our immigrant brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President of the Freeholders and the Freeholders of the County of Cook. I'm sorry, County of Essex. I'm sorry, Cook County is in Chicago. I'm Tony Monroe. I have the honor and the privilege to serve as president of Essex County College. I rise this evening with our new board chair, Thomas McDermott, who will also address the body, to express our deep appreciation and gratitude to the freeholders and to the county exec for resolution item 4K, with the transfer of appropriation of additional funds to Essex County College. I'll just remind everyone of the mission of Essex County College for the record. Essex County College is an open access community college that serves the diverse needs of students through comprehensive educational programs, training, and continuing education. Essex County College is dedicated to academic excellence and the success of its students. This additional funding of $1.5 million will help us continue our mission and to meet the needs of the County of Essex. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Monroe.
Hi, I'm Tom McDermott. I know some of you here from prior. I used to be the mayor of Milburn, so I know some of you from my prior experiences. But I just wanted to add on to what Dr. Monroe said. I'm kind of preaching to the choir because you know this. We will not fail. We cannot fail. We cannot afford to fail. We are a beacon of hope for people, for minorities, and for people in the city of Newark and throughout Essex County that sometimes feel that they don't have any hope. And we have to provide them the opportunity to succeed in life, and that's what we do. We can read the mission statement, we're in open access, but it's so important for us to be able to provide an education and a new life for many of our students throughout Essex County and outside of the county as well. We do get students from outside the county. So I just wanted to thank you and pledge to you that we will not fail. I'm going to tell you that right now, we will not fail. Whatever it takes, we'll make sure that we are successful. We have some hurdles to get over the next few months or year, but we will, and we've already started to go in the right direction with that under the leadership of Dr. Monroe. So I want to thank you again for your support, not only financial, but also your support in the other ways that you do for us, and we will, and I said, I promise you, we will not fail. So thank you.
Thank you. And for the record, Mr. McDermott and Dr. Monroe, I would just like to stress my support for you both in your leadership roles.
Thank
so
you
that
so
we
much.
do not fail, because that, as already previously stated, that college is paramount, not only to this county, but our surrounding area as well, and is oftentimes the first opportunity or course of access to higher education for many people in our community, particularly low to moderate income people. So I want to thank you for your leadership, and for the record, let you all know, as well as the public and anyone who is listening, that you have my support 100%, and congratulations on the 1.5.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Freeholder Jones.
I would like to congratulate Mr. McDermott and President Monroe. You have my support 100%. I know the president of the board, Mr. McDermott, I work with him, and he's a straight shooter. And it's all about the people. And I know he will do an excellent job and be there to support our new president. And if it's anything that I can do as a freeholder board, you have my vote, okay? So thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alejandro Jaramillo, and I am here to talk about item 11 on the agenda, and in support of the comments that Jay Arena made, right? We demand the end of the contract of Essex County with ICE, right? Because that contract, when we have that contract, you are financing the detention of people from your own communities. These are people that have children that go to the same schools as your children. These are the people that serve you in the restaurants where you work, where you go to eat. These are people that clean your gardens. These are people that give a lot of value to the community. And it's wrong to have that contract in place in Essex County, right? And let ICE go and jail the people and put it in jail here in the city of Newark. The undocumented immigrants pay about $12 billion in local state taxes and $15 to $13 billion in federal taxes. So those people that you are funding to be detained are the people that are paying for your salary, are contributing to pay for the lights and the energy of this building. So it's wrong, and we demand that the freeholders take a stand, represent the real interests of the immigrant community, and work hard and cancel that contract. And then we send a signal to close all the detention centers in New Jersey and make this a real sanctuary state. Thank you.
My name is Eric Lerner, and I want to speak to item 5 and 11 and the other revenue items. I want to second what other people have said about the necessity to end the contract for detention with Essex County for the ICE detentions. You as freeholders have an obligation to uphold the Constitution of the state of New Jersey and of the United States. The Bill of Rights of the United States prohibits the deprivation of people's liberty without charge or trial. But the ICE so-called administrative detainees are being held without criminal charge or trial. This unconstitutional action is similar to the actions that the government has taken in the past and that we have all condemned in the past. 3/4 of a century ago, the government detained without charge and trial hundreds of thousands of people of Japanese descent. We called those detention camps, in retrospect, concentration camps. We cannot have any concentration camps in the United States today in the 21st century. "11 years ago, I was involved in a campaign to close the detention center in Patterson, the Passaic County Detention Center, in which protests of the detainees themselves, peaceful protests within and without the detention center, led to the closing of that detention center and the end of that contract. That took a campaign of months. I hope that won't be necessary in Essex County, that the freeholders will decide on their own to do the right thing and to immediately end the contract with ICE. Shut this detention center down. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Brandon Rippey. I'm not honestly sure what budget item I'm talking to, but I'm going to speak briefly on the same issue that everyone else has spoken on. I am a teacher for 20 years now at Science Park High School here in Newark, a member of the Newark Education Workers Caucus, and I am here to speak also against the detention center in the East Ward of Newark. It was only a couple months ago that I found out that this detention center had these 800 plus immigrants kept in it. I was troubled by it. I teach many immigrant students. I know many of their parents and families. Many of them are extremely hardworking, decent people who came here for no other reason to improve their lives, and they should not be punished by it. And I would like to ask you if you have any control. I recognize that you are not the ones who signed the contract. That was the county executive's decision. But if you do have any power over him and over his ability to sign these contracts, I would ask that you take every effort necessary to end this contract now in the name of human rights and immigrant rights. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Karol Gay. I'm president of the New Jersey State Industrial Union Council. I too am here to speak on the budget items, the revenue items, and along with my brothers and sisters here tonight to say use your power, use whatever influence and power you have to shut down the detention center here in Essex County, to cancel the contract with ICE. Number one, because no human being is illegal. There should be no immigrant should be detained against their will. They have not committed any crimes whatsoever, and they should not be detained. Please shut down the detention center, end the contract with ICE, and keep families together. We need you to use your influence to keep families together and end this horrible nightmare of deportation and detention here in Essex and in New Jersey and in the country. Support real sanctuary for all human beings, equal rights and protections for all human beings. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jack Martin. I'm a retired priest. I live in Essex County in Caldwell in a retirement home that we have there. I worked in 3 different churches in Newark over the 50 years that I've been a priest. Also worked in Central America. When I came home from Central America, I went to Haiti for the first time. I thought I knew about poverty, having worked in Central Ward, Newark, and then in Central America. But when I went to Port-au-Prince, then I thought, Jack, you're seeing poverty for the first time. It's hard to imagine. A lot of Haitian immigrants are now being detained in our detention centers. And I was in Haiti last month, so to be sending people back home in a place that's still recovering from the earthquake, and from last year they got hit directly by Hurricane Matthew, and to think that they shouldn't be allowed to stay here, or to think that they have to stay here treated like prisoners, it's a sad reality. I have visited the detention center down there on Doremus Avenue, and it was sad for me to see the women crying and the men crying, but they're being treated like prisoners. When you go in there, you have to go through 2 screenings, as if, it's like maximum security or something, of people who have not committed any crime. They lack papers. Anyway, Newark should not be supporting this kind of system, especially in a country that's committed to the Judeo-Christian values and to the American ideals. I thought what was going on when I came past the statue of Lincoln on my way here. So anyway, with all those principles in mind, we ask you to do whatever you can to close that place down.
Good evening. My name is Laura. I work at a charter school in Newark. I'm here to talk about the budget resolutions as well. Urging you to utilize your influence, from the press conference that you have released, celebrating Women's Month, celebrating immigrants, celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, condemning the DACA repeal. It's very clear that your influence seems to be on the track of, vouching for human rights, right? But in that case, then I do urge you to break the contract with ICE, because ICE is affecting women, ICE is affecting Hispanic, ICE is affecting immigrants. It's affecting the very violence that you're condemning. So in that case, I do urge you to utilize your influence to break the contract, because it's one thing to release press conferences that show that you are, on the side of human rights and universal human freedoms, and to put yourself that way, and then it's another thing to actually back legislation and resolutions, and to, take money, take profit from lives that are being broken, and then putting up, nice press conferences. Instead of putting up press conferences, I urge you to take direct action to close down these facilities so that these people can actually enjoy their freedom and enjoy their citizenship and enjoy, citizenship in terms of just the dignity of being a person. And rather than, releasing press conferences, I do urge you to take the action to shut down these facilities. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lewis. I'm a student over at the College of Staten Island, and I'm here to talk about the same budget resolution as most of us have here. First and foremost, Essex County, for the sake of human rights, needs to end this contract with ICE. These people are human beings, just like you, just like I. And remember, when you go home to your houses, to your family, to your friends, to your loved ones, that these people cannot do that simply because they were born in a country that is impoverished, simply because they were born across an arbitrary border. These are people just like you and I, who do not deserve to have their human rights taken away from them. These are people who need our help, who cannot help themselves because of the laws set in place. I urge you, please, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of human lives, please break your contract. Break the contract with ICE. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Stacy Gregg, and this is a historic night. You have a lot of people here. It's a very important election that just passed, where we elected a governor who is going up against this administration. I'm here to speak for the budget line items as well, number 11. And I ditto everything that's been said eloquently and fully, but I want to point out to you, I've been to other freeholder meetings in other counties, and we get done and you know, on various subjects, and you say, well, we don't have that power here. Well, this is truth to power. You do have the power. Whether you can vote on something here to break that contract, you can show up, you can influence your other politicians, you can make it happen. This is a very precarious time in history. And all of you, just like I went around years ago trying to get Martin Luther King holiday, the only way, I went up against school boards, and the only way I got them to finally break it in my town of Rockaway Township is I said, I'm taking a photo tonight. What side of history do you want to be on? You want to be on the one that continues to go year after year without honoring Martin Luther King holiday for the children and having them have that day off from school and honoring Martin Luther King? Or do you want to be in the photo of the group that once again denied it? Now, people voted. The majority won. But guess who wanted to be in that honorary photo of the first year they ever had the holiday celebrated in my township? Everybody. Even the ones that voted against it. So I don't know how it's going to work, what your answers are going to be when I sit down with, you don't have that power, you didn't do that contract. You do have the power. You have the power to stand in front of that detention center like I did several months ago. Those people are languishing in there without windows, without fresh air. It's a horrible, horrible, awful place. And who do they have to look for? Us, the citizens of the state, allowing it to continue. So I urge you to do whatever you can. Stand there outside with us if you need to. Join our groups. See when we're meeting. You speak volumes. The press listens to you. Your words mean more than ours do. You're elected officials. We need you to break this contract. Whatever you can do, you want to be on the right side of history with this. This is a historic thing in our country. He had never had an administration such as we have now, with all the racist comments coming out of him, the misogynist comments coming out of him. I fear for those people in that facility that's in our state. We need to get hate out of our state, and we need to close these concentration camps down. Thank you.
A point of clarity from the administration. What's being discussed primarily, in addition to the Essex County College, is resolution number 11. Can you please connect the dots between ICE and resolution number 11?
Madam President, good evening. There is no connection as far as I can ascertain. There is revenue. That's a revenue item. And I think you have a point in the agenda later where you can talk about anything. I think the idea is to connect revenue, that it's a revenue related, so it's connected, but there's an opportunity to speak about anything subsequently. So I think the idea is to connect revenue to revenue, but as far as the items are concerned, the item 11 deals with providing services for our seniors in Essex County. It has nothing to do with the correctional facility, but I think the nexus is revenue to revenue. That's as far all I can determine.
Okay, so just for that point of clarity, so item number 11 for $1,781 is revenue from the State of New Jersey Department of Human Services for senior services. So I understand there's also an opportunity to speak. You can speak about any issue at all, which is the next public comment session, but I just wanted to put that on the record. If a vote goes through tonight for a yes for number 11, that's actually not anything pertaining to ICE at all. But I will share with you that it's no secret that I've been quite vocal on this board, as have many of my colleagues using our platforms and using our political voice, that we should be looking for other sources of revenue and not on the backs of people. And that has been no secret about this Freeholder board and where we stand. So, you know, I wanted to make that point of clarity because making the reference to item number 11, it does not have anything to do with ICE. But if you just needed something to come and talk to get your platform out, I think that's awesome and that's amazing. I love people power. That's one of my favorite things. So, but there is an opportunity to speak. Okay. Thank you. But what I'm saying is, if you're just trying to look for a item to attach, that way you can speak. I understand that too, but you don't have to do that either, because there's an opportunity to speak about any issue at all, and that's coming up after resolution items. Wait, because also the other thing is that we have a very specific order that's always done here. So the audience doesn't call out, and you speak for 3 minutes, you come to the microphone, and then you also have 3 minutes to speak toward the end of our meeting, which our meeting tonight, well, I can't really determine because I don't want to say that how long or what the duration might be. But there's an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes before, and there's an opportunity to speak 3 minutes after the votes go forward. So, sir, I'm asking you respectfully, because I respect everyone here, please do not call out from the audience, although I do appreciate you coming and being very passionate about the issues that you're speaking in regard to. Okay, so are there any members of the public wishing to comment on agenda items only? Okay, please come forward.
Thank you. I'd first like to say that I appreciate the opportunity to speak on the agenda items. I very much appreciate what you just said about supporting the people who are in the audience and their right to speak about various issues. My name is Jonathan Redwine. I live in West Orange. I'm part of a group called Essex Rising. And my request to the freeholders is for any budget item, I'm speaking to all the budget items, for any budget item that you are considering or passing, I'd ask that you identify what portion of those expenditures that you're adopting come from the ICE detention center and come from other federal detention centers that are in this county.
Thank you for the point of clarity. To the administration, Mr. Jackson, this is revenue from the State of New Jersey Department of Human Services, item 11. What portion of that is coming from ICE?
What portion is?
It's coming from the State of New Jersey, right?
I think that question is one would have to examine the state's budget. I mean, we get grants every year. We've been getting grants for decades to provide services for seniors, for others, and this is funding that we get from the State of New Jersey's budget. If one wanted to take the examination to go through that analysis, but that's not what we have been doing heretofore, and I don't know that it's a question, but no, we don't have the answer to that at this time.
Right. Okay, because it's coming from the State of New Jersey Department of Human Services for senior services. Okay. So I'll allow you to speak again only because you didn't eat much of your time up for the 3 minutes. But go ahead, sir.
Just to make a point of clarification, I wasn't just speaking to item number 11. I was speaking to every one of the items that are budgetary items,
okay.
Including I think number 5, I think number 6. I had it here a minute ago. I think it's number 18 in particular, which speaks to items of revenue from the State of New Jersey for County Victim Witness Advocacy Grant Program. I just wonder if any part of that program would go toward supporting the people who are being detained in the ICE detention center. It seems like they're victims of the state and should be supported by Essex County.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public wishing to comment on agenda items only? Okay. Are there any members of the public wishing to comment on any issue at all?
Good evening. My name is Naomi Serlin, and I am on the Healthcare Committee of Blue Wave, New Jersey. We are a progressive liberal organization that works towards social justice. And tonight I'm asking the freeholders' help because, as you know, the health insurance enrollment period was cut in half. We have 5 weeks left to reach and out to the uninsured who are eligible for health insurance. And northern New Jersey is one of the designated areas that that need is very, very great. About 10 areas of the country have been identified. So I have actually materials to give out to the freeholders. One is a 5-point flyer, and the other simply identifies the various municipalities and where people can get in-person help to sign up for their health care. There are trained navigators, and help is available. The issue is many people not knowing where to go and not seeing the advertising, since the current Washington administration cut the budget for advertising and outreach by 90%, in addition to cutting the enrollment period in half. So I have materials here to distribute. Our hope, Blue Wave Healthcare Committee's hope, is that the freeholder of each municipality, and you will find it in the material, will be able to post in public places the information. In addition to that, we are wondering whether there can be a county mailing informing residents that this is going on now. It ends December 15th, and that it can reach into the homes of all of the county residents. And failing that, whether municipalities can do a mailing. So we are looking at multiple ways to get the information available to vulnerable populations. May I pass the information out now?
Yes, Ms. Muhammad will take that information from you.
There also is a contact person's name, phone number, and email address should you have any questions. That's included in this literature. And we deeply hope that you will act on this and call upon us. We are a group of volunteers, unpaid volunteers. We are not government officials, but we're people of conscience, and we want to get as many eligible people enrolled as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Monique Danielle. I'm the author of a new book called Forgotten Pieces. It's a life skills guide for teens and young adults. I'm going to give you a brief background of myself. I'm the CEO of Monique Danielle Productions. I did a TV show called Style Sports and Entertainment. We also launched a radio show called The Monique Danielle Show. Our brand also consists of a Monique Danielle collection, which is a makeup, skincare line, and a boutique. And now I just became the new author of Forgotten Pieces, as I just said, which is a life skills guide for teens and young adults. The reason I did this book was because I have a daughter. She's 21 years old. And a lot of the kids congregate at our house where they used to when they were in high school. And they had a lot of questions for me, and a lot of the questions were about life skills. They were confused with what they needed to do after high school. They were confused if they had to go to college, even if they'd rather go in the military or go to a trade school. So I was giving them a lot of clarity on how to open up a bank account, how to dress for success, how to pick a career versus a job, how to open up bank accounts. And a lot of that's missing nowadays. I know it's been taken out of our schools. So that's what I put in my book, Forgotten Pieces. It's a life skills guide to teach them the things that they need to do to navigate through life a little bit easier. I try to give them a guide from the beginning to the middle and even an exit strategy. Builds high self-esteem, the power of I am. All these things will connect the students with the parents with better communities. That's why I wrote the book. My goal is to try to get the book into high schools. And the reason I'm here speaking with you guys is because maybe you can give me some direction on who I really need to speak to first. I'm doing a lot of calling, getting a lot of different direction. So I don't know if I should go to the superintendent, if I need to go to the Board of Education. I don't know who I need to go to because the book is broken down for seminars as well as 7-week workshops. So again, my name is Monique Danielle. This is my book, Forgotten Pieces. It's a life skills guide for teens and young adults. And if you can give me some direction, I really would appreciate it.
Thank you, Monique. And I do think the Board of Education is a great place to start, as well as the county does have vocational schools. So reaching out to those superintendents and principals and even teachers to talk with them about your book for the county vocational schools, I think that would also be a very appropriate approach.
Okay, and I have some cards. I gave them to the young lady for her to give out to everyone.
I
So
have
if
them right
anyone
here.
has a card for me, I would appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And sir, we do 3 minutes in the beginning and 3 minutes in the end, and I believe you already spoke for your 3 minutes.
But I thought
we
you
don't,
moved
we do
item
not change.
Q.
No,
This was open issues were just brought up, correct?
we'll allow it.
Thank you. I have one question for the freeholders assembled here. You, all of you, voted for this contract with ICE to detain 800 immigrants, to get blood money from that. Are you going to vote to end this contract? Are you going to be serious about defending human rights, about challenging the Trump regime, and not just posturing? If you are about seriously defending human rights, seriously defending immigrants, you must vote to end this contract. Are you going to do it?
Thank you. There's no contract on here tonight, sir, to vote for or against. So, but we thank you for your comment.
Do you plan to bring it up?
Sir, we're not going to go back and forth because that's also part of the courtesy, because we usually answer in writing within 7 days. But what I'm telling you is that tonight, and you're speaking in reference of a vote, that there is no vote to approve or to start or to end a contract. But I thank you very much for your advocacy, and I certainly understand where you're coming from.
We're going to keep coming back.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public wishing to comment?
Monroe Cowboy, District Leader of the South Ward, and I'd like to congratulate all the members of the freeholders who have won the election. And I know that it's for a reason, because you are the best to do whatever has to be done for Essex County. And I know everybody is going to do their part and play their part. I just appreciate everything that I tried to do and help to make it better for Essex County. Around the parks, wherever I am, and I've seen a lot behind the situation that I was put in when I became district leader. And I learned a lot, and I'm learning a lot, because I'm not a politician, but I do see things that need to be done to make things a lot better for the citizens, for the seniors, and whatever. And I try to speak on it in a way that I can be helpful, not hurtful, and anything. And I know that you are all here to do the best you can to help the citizens of the Essex County. And doing that, this is why I'm up here. I left the city because I don't feel that I was getting the information and help that I was getting from the city of North. But I do feel that I can get that from Essex County. Now, I'm also saying that what I have been speaking on and what I have been saying, I don't feel that you are getting I'm getting results from what I am saying from the ones who are in charge and checking on things that has to be done and cleared up. But I hope that it will be different now that we have a new area of time to make things better. And I think that it will be better. But I would like to hear from the ones that what I've been speaking on, a little clarification on what I am asking them to do as far as the porta potties, the trees, and the things. I'm just getting a vague answer that is being looked after and taken care of, but it's not being handled the way it should be, as we are, as you are a board of directors to see that things are carried out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cowboy.
Good evening, Madam Chair, elected freeholders. I want to say thank you to Wayne Richardson on his win in District 2. Also, I want to make you aware of the Port Authority meeting, which is November the 28th at 5 o'clock at the Weequahic Park Community Center. Speaking about this particular issue, because we as the citizens of the South Ward would like to know what the Port Authority plans are, not at the time of their particular meeting. We want to know in advance. So I look forward to working with you, Wayne, to actually put together some meetings for the citizens, and let's work together. All right, and that's on behalf of the South Ward GOP. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public wishing to comment on any issue at all? Okay, Freeholder Bobadilla. Wait 1 second. We have one coming forward. Okay.
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
So my name is Jakia McMillan, and I am a new resident here in the city of Newark. And I'm requesting information on how we could have our streets paved. I did notice that half a block down the road, they paved the streets there. And okay, so I live on Clinton Place. So on the opposite side of Clinton Place where Hillside starts, that street has been paved. Chancellor Ave has been paved. Keir Street or Keir Avenue has also been paved. And some of the reparations have been started but not completed. I've reached out to the councilman, what's his name? John Sharp James, yes. And I've also contacted the mayor's office for additional information. My landlord shared that she has tried relentlessly over the past few years, and her attempts have been, unsuccessful. So I was hoping that maybe you all could share direction on who I could contact, or even other residents of the community to have our streets paved. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will, Ms. Muhammad's going to come and get your information. We're going to respond to you in writing within 7 days. And I'm sure an analysis will be done about the county roads as well with that, for what you're asking. Are there any other members of the public wishing to comment on any issue at all?
Point of clarification.
Point of...
Not asking for 3 minutes, so.
Sure.
For procedural point of clarification.
Turn the mic around. Just, yeah, and state your name and affiliation for the record.
Stacy Gregg, point of clarification regarding procedures. So everyone that spoke will get an answer in writing in 7 days?
If there was a question that was asked, yes. If there was a statement, we hear you. But if there's a direct question, then the answer is yes.
So for myself, my question is, will you be putting it on the agenda? So if I need to be clear, will you be voting to shut down the ICE contract? So that would be my question. And I can't speak for everybody else here, but if, we're all looking to get an answer in 7 days individually. I believe that's the question we all had coming in tonight. We thought we'd get at least some conversation response back. We noticed some of the other people did get responses back. I just wanted that point of clarification. So my question is, will it be on the agenda? Will it be discussed tonight? When will it be discussed?
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know. I need a point of clarification on that too, Freeholder Seabold. Sometimes special interest groups, when they come before us, they come before us with sample legislation or something that they'd like to see. But again, there's nothing on this agenda tonight regarding that type of legislation. But yes, if you answer a specific question, we will respond to you within 7 days. Any other members of the public wishing to comment? Okay. All right. Freeholder Bobadilla.
I think one of the questions that's been missing is when is the contract up for renewal? And I think that's when you guys need to come here and voice your opinions. You know, I'm one of the original members who signed the contract for the ICE detention center. At the time, the nation was obviously under different leadership, and different criteria is applied to those people being in detention. Criteria such as having a criminal committed a crime or having gang affiliations. And in between there were some people who should not have been there to begin with. So over the years, privately, I have stood up and I have fought for individuals, and some I have managed to get a stay and some I have not, which has broken my heart. But you know, the climate that we're in now is entirely different from the climate that when we signed that original contract. The climate that we have now promotes, you know, racism at a national level. It actually violates human rights. I do believe that. And so when you talk about, you know, deporting the dreamers, and you talk about deporting individuals just because they happen to report like they normally do, and they're being detained, you know, the climate has changed. And I won't be here when the contract is up because this is, as of December, I will no longer be a freeholder. But I think there's a possibility that with the new governor, the county exec, and this board, which I know is pretty opposed to human rights and really standing up for individuals, all individuals.
Human rights violations.
Yeah,
He said
absolutely.
human rights.
Sorry.
Point of clarity?
Yes.
Same.
So my point is that I think we can make some progress. I think there is room to have that dialogue there. Find alternative ways to have that revenue. Find alternative ways for the new governor to support that agenda. And it's that time, the renewal time, where you need to come forward, and I'll probably be over there at that time joining you guys. But I want to be realistic also about one thing. When we signed this contract, when I signed it, I did not sign into a concentration camp. So I want to be realistic with that. I take offense to that. I have visited the ICE detention center more than once, more than twice. I have gone there with, I have dealt with, you know, First Friends and other organizations. So I'm pretty familiar with the ins and outs of that detention center. But I think that there is a possibility, there is a chance. And I think the point of clarity should be, when is the contract up for renewal? Okay, thank you.
And Freeholder Bobadilla, another point of clarity, and I agree with what you said. The discussion definitely should happen. But when was that contract signed? How many?
I believe it's 3 years ago, and it's a 5-year contract, I believe. I could be off on that. I'm not quite sure.
Okay. Ms. Gassion?
Courtney Gassion, Essex County Council. For a point of clarification, Madam President, the ICE contract expires January 1, 2021.
Okay. And when was it signed, Ms. Gassion?
I believe it was a 10-year contract. That I would have to defer to the administration.
So was that before all of the members of this body were freeholders? That was in a previous... Well, Freeholder Siebold.
6 years.
Freeholder Siebold, you've been here. I'm talking about the new freeholders. Ms. Gassion.
I don't know what freeholders were sitting at the time it was voted on. I only have the date of expiration, which was 2021.
Okay.
So we're looking at 2011?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, it's going to expire in 2021?
That is correct, January 1, 2021.
Anybody who's here in 2021?
Right. So another point of clarity, not every freeholder that you're seeing now was a freeholder then, but that was a comment that was made. So I'm sure that in the questioning that we respond back. That would be one of the responses. But yeah, I mean, listen, we hear you, and it is something for discussion, and you should always stand up for what you believe in and fight for people who cannot speak for themselves, and it's a beautiful thing. And the discussion should occur. It's just that there's nothing currently to vote on, and I thank Ms. Gassion, Corporation Counsel, for telling us and telling you when exactly you can expect for that to be coming back. Members of the public wishing to comment?
Did you close it?
I didn't close it.
Hi. First of all, we cannot wait to 2021. There are families being breaking up, and if my neighbor gets sent to that detention and their children are missing their parents, it's not a good thing to say, I'm sorry. We have to wait until 2021. So it's got to be right now. And what I am asking freeholders is what is the procedure to introduce that as a vote and close it down. Because we are going to be on the streets, we are going to be in front of your office, we are going to be here every time until that happens. And if you believe in protecting human rights, human dignity, and respect, you should vote against that. It's not about let's wait until 2021. That's usual politics as we know it, right? So we need you to act now and tell us what is the procedure to introduce that vote. Thank you.
The procedure, you should write down what it is exactly that you're asking for, and you should also ensure to send it to the administration, County Executive DiVincenzo, because that is your citizen right and your citizen power. And we also thank you for your voice today. Any other members of the public? Okay, we're going to close public comment session. And we are going to move forward with the meeting.
Can you see the script?
Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay, are there any ordinances or resolutions for introduction and first reading?
Madam President, there's one. Ordinance 1, refunding bond ordinance, providing for the refunding of certain general obligations bonds of the County of Essex, New Jersey, appropriating $52 million, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of 52 million bonds or notes of the county for financing the cost thereof.
Okay. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, Madam President. As you know, the administration, when every opportunity we have to take advantage of good interest rates and a better interest rate environment, we try to do that, and we have a case of a possibility of being able to do that at this time. And I'm going to ask Mr. Drakowitz from the Gibbons Law Firm to come up and explain this particular refunding opportunity.
Thank you very much. Again, John Drakowitz from the Gibbons Law Firm. My pleasure to be here in front of you today, Freeholder Board Chairperson. We were advised by some financial folks, the county's financial advisor, which is Acacia Financial Group, that there might be an opportunity to do a refunding of a transaction that was issued by the County of Essex in 2010. That particular transaction was a little bit unique at the time because instead of a standard issuance of bonds, they were issued as taxable bonds with some special provisions back in 2010, which have now been discontinued by the federal government. This particular transaction is up for introduction, and the reason why we're here today is because of changes that are occurring in proposed legislation that is in Washington, D.C. right now, which would eliminate the ability to do what's called advance refundings, which is what this particular transaction would be. So we're here a little bit on short notice because this particular type of transaction would potentially expire on December 31st of this year. The transaction produces, or estimated to produce, around $3 million of savings for the County of Essex. It's a little unique because since that transaction was a little bit special, we are still undertaking a review to determine whether we can indeed refund those bonds and that particular analysis should be concluded shortly. But we ask you to introduce the ordinance today because of time-wise, we would need to have the second reading by your next meeting and the particular publication to be done so that we could get the transaction done by the end of December. So I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time, and we're hoping to be back at your next meeting with the second reading of this ordinance.
Mr. McInerney?
Thank you, Madam President. I had several discussions today with Mr. Drakowitz and also spent a considerable amount of time analyzing this bond transaction to assure that what's represented is in fact correct, at least the calculations. Again, I'm no bond expert, but I was able to analyze the bond transaction, and there is in fact a savings of $3.4 million. The odd thing about this is that these are Build America bonds, and what they were was they were bonds that went out as taxable bonds, but the federal government subsidized the difference between the higher rates of a taxable bond and the lower rates of a tax exempt. And that little idiosyncrasy is providing some level of potential doubt as to whether or not this can move forward. I'm not saying it can't, but there still is a question about whether or not this transaction can take place. So the rationale was, let's get it on the agenda because of the legislation that potentially is coming down from the federal government to disallow the advance refundings, which we've done on many occasions. And an advance refunding is, I go out and I sell bonds, I stick the money in investments, I make enough money off those investments to pay off the old bonds that are not defeased. They're still outstanding. And that differential is actually a savings there. It has to be a savings. But that kind of transaction now could be jeopardized. That's why it's necessary to get on at least for first reading. We'll come back to you during second reading to determine whether or not everything that can make this a viable transaction with viable savings is in fact something that can take place and it is a reality. But right now, it's just an exercise to get on the agenda and allow us to take, allow it to take its course.
And we are determined, if there is a savings here, to move as expeditiously as possible so that the county can capture those savings if we are permitted to move forward under the tax law. So we're in position to move forward to do so if we're back here at your next meeting.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Mr. Paul Vecchio?
No comments.
Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments regarding this bond ordinance? Okay. Hearing none. Do you have a mover and a second to introduce this?
Move it.
Moved by Freeholder Richardson, second by Freeholder Seabold. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Toro.
Yes.
Freeholder Seabold.
Yes.
Freeholder Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Gill, absent. Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder President Timberlake.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Are there any resolutions or ordinances on second reading and public hearing for listing purposes only?
Madam President, there are none.
Okay. Are there any ordinances or resolution for second reading and public hearing?
Madam President, there is one, ordinance number O-2017-00008, an ordinance appropriating $2,500,000 by the County of Essex for the acquisition of various capital equipment.
Thank you. We are now going to open a public hearing for ordinance number O-2017-00008. If there's any member of the public for or against this ordinance, please come forward, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak, monitored by the clock to my right. Okay.
Stacy Gregg, I have a question regarding the appropriation of $2,500,000 by the County of Essex for the acquisition of various capital equipment. What percentage of that is coming from the funds that are coming from the 10-year contract that you entered regarding the ICE detention center?
Jackson?
It's all capital.
It's all capital. And Mr. McInerney?
It's all borrowed funds.
Okay. Mr. Paul Vecchio?
No comment.
Freeholders? Okay. Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak for or against this ordinance? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Okay. Motion to close public hearing for ordinance number 2017 00008. Moved by Freeholder Bobadilla, second by Freeholder Johnson. Do I have the same mover and a second to approve this ordinance?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Gill. Absent. Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano. Absent. Freeholder Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder Toro.
Yes.
Freeholder President Timberlake.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. All right, now we're going to move to resolutions. Madam Clerk, I'm going to ask if you could read the resolutions into the record at a later time. And Mr. Jackson, if you can move to resolutions number 1 and 2 and explain.
Madam President, the administration and county executive are very pleased and honored to nominate Arnold C. Lewis, Ph.D., to the Essex County College Board of Trustees. And Dr. Lewis is here to address the board and answer your questions.
Good evening, Madam President, Board of Freeholders. I'm Dr. Arnold Lewis, Chair of the Political Science Department at William Patterson University, Bloomfield resident. I've been in higher education for over 2 decades as a student, faculty member, as well as a administrator. So I come to you with being honored by the nomination to serve on the Essex County Board of Trustees for the Essex County College. I understand that the institution serves a very vital role in this community in certain key constituencies, and I have a history in many institutions with many of these matters, and so I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to come before you, and I can answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Mr. McInerney? Mr. Paul Vecchio?
I don't have it.
Freeholders? Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, Mr. Lewis, I see your resume is very impressive. It's a long list of your educational background as well as your career in higher education. Do you want to talk to us about also what you expect to bring to the board and some of what your expertise lies?
Well, my expertise lies in public policy, policy analysis, economic development, fiscal affairs at state and local level. And as right now I'm the chair of the Department of Political Science, and I understand a lot of the machinations, if you will, of how institutions of higher ed operate, the challenges, even in issues regarding, say, assessment and evaluation, accreditation. The same as agency that it's accrediting Essex County College is the same agency that we interact with at William Patterson, Middle States Board of Higher Ed. So I can bring experience in that particular process to the board, as well as experience in other institutions I've worked in, where I've worked on the finance committee or helped the college or university at that time deal with a financial crisis in response to a shortfall in revenues from investments or reserves. So, and the other things I bring to the table, obviously I've been teaching since 1995. So I also understand what it's like to be a faculty member in the classroom. I understand the needs of staff. I understand even what students are expecting from institutions of higher ed and how that has evolved over the past 2 decades or more. So in addition to those things that I've noted earlier, those are some things that I can bring to the table, as well as working at different types of institutions. A large regional state university that was serving historically marginalized population, Florida A&M University, historically black college in the state of Florida. I worked at the College of Worcester in Ohio, a very small private liberal arts institution that served a different type of purpose. And now I'm at a regional state university in this state that serves a very diverse population and has recently been designated as a Hispanic serving institution. So I have a lot of background, even in my travels in higher ed, that I can bring to the table.
Thank you very much. Your resume, again, it's quite impressive, and as you know, the college has been subject to much discussion over these last few years, and it's an institution that needs someone of your expertise that can apply that expertise and help the college to thrive, because we do want to be on track and make sure that we're okay with middle states, that our accreditation is okay, and that we're doing all that we can to make that education facility succeed, because that is what is most important, is that it succeeds, and nothing else other than the students and the faculty thriving together collectively for the entire community's best interest. So thank you.
Thank you.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Thank you. I'm just going to be honest about this. You know, if I can put my opinion about Essex County College in one word, it would be disarray. I think that, you know, there's a lot of divisiveness within the leadership bodies, the units that make the decisions for the school. I think right now, every community college was intended to be a pathway and access for individuals who don't have a lot. And I feel like it's losing that mission. And I think, you know, I welcome you to the board. I looked at your resume. I think it's quite impressive. I just want you to keep my words in mind as you serve that board, because I think that there's a lot of turmoil in that college that needs to be resolved, and it needs to be resolved sooner than later. That being said, I think that this board also needs to explore a pathway to present candidates to the board. Right now, there's 11 members that get selected to that board, and this legislative body does not have a say on those 11 members, and I think that is wrong. That being said, you know, thank you for your commitment, and we look forward to some of your successes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. We're going to list this for action later this evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Jackson.
We're also equally honored to nominate Ms. Joanna Wright to the board of the Essex County College, and she too is here to answer your questions.
Okay, Ms. Wright, please come forward.
Well, hello, everybody. Hi. My name is Johanna Wright. I'm a resident of South Orange. I'm extremely honored and humbled to be asked to serve on the Board of Trustees at Essex County College. I am currently a retired educator of over 45 years. I think I will bring my experience and my expertise to the board. I'm also a coach. And I'm not just an average coach, I'm an award-winning coach, and I know how to collaborate. I know how to bring people together, and that is what I will bring to the Board of Trustees at Essex County College if you would have me, because that has not been determined. If you have any questions, I am certainly ready to answer.
Okay. Mr. McInerney? Mr. Polo right there? Freeholders? Freeholder over there?
I think you fit the bill. Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Wright, Freeholder Siebel?
I chose to wait until after both were introduced and spoke before us. We have two excellent candidates who are going to be on the Board of Trustees, and both candidates have extensive knowledge in terms of education. They are the two perfect people to be members of the Essex County Advisory Board. So I'm really pleased that you're willing to give up your time to be able to do this, both of you. You, Joanna Wright, and also Dr. Arnold Lewis. You both will make a tremendous asset to the advisory board, and I'm looking forward to hearing all the great things you'll do for that board.
Well, thank you.
It's nice to have
Thank
you, and
you.
I'm glad you're willing to give up your time.
Freeholders? Okay, Ms. Wright? Your educational background, Bennett College, what was your degree?
Health, physical education, and a minor in biology.
Health and physical ed and a minor in biology?
Yes.
And that was bachelor's, master's?
Bachelor's degree.
Okay. So again, the same thing, my same comments still stand. The college is in need of people who can go in and be on board to put the college on track so that it can succeed in the community, so that accreditation is not lost, so that the community can still be serviced by this school for many, many, many years to come.
It's absolutely necessary. You know, my husband worked for years in the city of Newark, Lonnie Wright, who worked and championed at the New Jersey Medical School for the underserved and the underrepresented. And the bottom line is we need to do better. And we can't be willing to accept a no when we need a yes. And of course, if you're not sitting at the table, you're part of the menu, right? So.
Okay. Please list it for action later this evening. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, Madam President, for the third, number 3? You're looking
Yes,
for?
please.
Yes. Another outstanding candidate to the Essex County Advisory Board for the Arts, Jane Eliasoff, who's coming and is also here to present her qualifications. I think she was here. I saw her earlier. Oh, I thought I saw her earlier. She is not
Withdrawing?
here. Yeah, we'll bring her back.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, please move to resolution number 4.
Yes, Madam President. As you know, usually right around this time every year, we have transfers of items between for our budget, and we're doing that again this year. A number of ins and outs, tos and froms, so to speak, for the total being $2.7 million that's being moved from and to accounts. And as was noted earlier, I guess the major item of that is providing additional funding to the Essex County College. And I know that Mr. McInerney has reviewed these items, and it's fairly straightforward. Our usual November transfer of items.
Okay, Mr. McInerney?
That's absolutely correct. After November 1st, the county's given the opportunity to transfer amounts where they believe they have under expenditures, those areas where they require additional funds so that they're not overexpended. So it's pretty typical of the places where the money comes from is typical places where we've seen it in the past is in the hospital center. Let me just, there's a couple small amounts out of some of the salary and wage accounts, out of Public Works, and out of the prosecutor's office. The bulk of which is, as was said earlier, is going into the county college.
Okay, freeholders? Okay, this is including the $1.5 million for Essex County.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do we know what percentage that brings us to the administration of what we're funding for the college?
Yes. We were originally giving $12,450,000. We're now doing $13,950,000.
Do you know what that brings us up to? Yes, Mr. McInerney?
I just want to make a point. This did go through the Board of Estimates,
yes,
correct?
It did go through the Board of School
Which has to approve it first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. just want to put that on record.
Step 1. And I believe Freeholder Toro and Freeholder Jones support a school estimate, or is it Freeholder Luciano? It's Freeholder Luciano and Freeholder Jones. But the point of the percentage is, do we know what percentage that is, Mr. Jackson? Where are we at to now? We're moving in the right direction, but where are we?
No, I don't have that number. I don't have their total budget in front of me, but it's a 10%, roughly 11% increase of our funding.
Yeah, no, that's very good. It's moving in the right direction. Just whenever you have an opportunity, please send it down to my office.
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Okay. We are going to, hearing no questions from the freeholders, we're going to list it for action later this evening. Please move to resolution number 5. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, Madam President. This is a budget insertion for $180,000 from the Division of Community Action, and it provides for funding for homeless services. This is particularly for intense case management issues and prevention for eligible Essex County residents.
Okay. Mr. McInerney?
No comments.
Mr. Polavecchio?
No comment.
Freeholders? Okay, hearing none. And again, we're reading all resolutions into the record at a later time. Mr. Jackson, resolution number 6.
Item 6 is a contract award to Atlantic Tactical, Inc. to provide ammunition. This is an amount of $26,835. This is a state contract, and the contract winner does comply with the board's policy with respect to arms.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and the policy that you're speaking about is our, it was the highest level that we could do as a freeholder body to promote gun safety as well as responsibility and awareness. So that is that they have answered the questions that were provided in the bid packet.
That is correct, Madam President.
Okay. Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Mr. Polavecchio?
Yeah, and Madam President, those answers that you're just referring to are in the freeholders package and in the backup information.
Thank you. Freeholders? Okay, hearing none, please list it. All right, Mr. Jackson, resolution number 7.
Madam President, this is an amendment of our agreement with Seton Hall University with respect to Ivy Hill Park, and Mr. Zaitz is here from the department to give you more information.
All right.
Joshua Zaitz, Essex County Parks. Through you, Madam Chair. Number 7 is a renewal for a term of 5 years with the agreement with Seton Hall. Originally, the agreement was entered into in 2012. It's for 250 hours of 250 units of playing time over at Ivy Hill Park, where Seton Hall uses for their softball field. The contract is for 20 years, and it's renewable every 5. So the 5 years are up, so we're bringing it to the board with the request for renewal.
Okay, Mr. McInerney?
No comments.
Mr. Polavecchio?
Just one point. I think it's actually a 25-year license, but the same thing with 5 years, renewable every 5 years.
I might have misspoke. I believe you are correct.
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Zaitz?
Sure. If you'd like me to move to number 8, this is a contract award to GSP Properties for our bear exhibit. The safety glass improvements. We're going to be expanding the viewing area of the bear exhibit within the bear building. So the glass will be made wider so we can accommodate more people to view the bears.
Okay. Mr. McInerney?
No comment.
All right, freeholders? Okay, hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jackson, resolution number 8.
Yeah, Mr.
9. Thank you.
Item 9, Madam President, is a budget insertion again for revenue for our Division of Senior Services for $4,250. The program is for a senior farmers market nutrition program where the seniors are given a voucher for food they can buy from designated farmers markets. It's been a popular program, and we're just receiving $4,250 to do that.
Okay. Mr. McInerney?
No comment.
Mr. Paul Vecchio?
No comment.
Freeholders? Okay. Resolution number 10?
Resolution number 10 relates to number 9, and this is a sub-grant agreement with Krill Care Incorporated to provide and sort of administer that nutrition program.
Mr. McInerney?
No comments.
Mr. Paul
No
Vecchio?
comments.
Freeholders? Okay, please list it. Number 11?
Number 11 is also a budget insertion, again for the Division of Senior Services. This is a final allocation from an earlier program of $1,781 to provide for ongoing programs for our Division of Senior Services.
Okay. Mr. McInerney?
No comment.
Mr. Paul Vecchio?
comment.
Freeholders? Okay, please list it. Resolution 12?
Item 12 is an amendment to our 27 area plan matrix. This is hopefully provide for additional funding through accruals and supplemental grant funding, but it provides resources for home health aid, meals, nutrition, the Home Friend program, health promotion, and residential maintenance services for our Division of Senior Services.
Okay. Mr. McInerney?
Only a portion of this is a grant, correct?
Correct.
Like $75,000 or so.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. No other questions.
Mr. Paul Vecchio?
No questions.
Freeholders? Okay. Please list it and move to resolution 13.
Item 13, I'm sorry. Okay. Item 13 is a program, an insertion of revenue from the State of New Jersey, Department of Environmental Protection, County Environmental Health Act, CEHA, and Eileen Fishman is here to give you more details.
Ms. Fishman?
Good evening. Eileen Fishman, Deputy Director of Community Health Services. This is a insertion for $330,783 for a grant that comes from the state to administer and delegate environmental health activities in the areas of air pollution control, solid waste inspections, standardized county hazardous material emergency response, safe drinking water, noise and pesticide control, regulated underground storage tank inspections, and right to know to Essex County residents and businesses.
Mr. McInerney?
These funds will be expended by our health department, correct?
I'm sorry?
These funds are expended by our health department?
Yes.
Our Department of Health?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mr. Paul Vecchio?
No questions.
Freeholders? Okay, hearing none. Thank you. Please list it.
Thank you.
And move to resolution number 14.
Yes, Madam President. Another budget insertion in the amount of $656,607 to provide for services, support services for individuals and families. And again, Ms. Fishman is here to answer your questions.
Ms. Fishman, are there members from the public that were here to speak tonight in relation to this? I saw Ms. DeVore here. I know we're talking about senior services. Were there members of the public prepared to speak?
I don't believe so, but that,
You don't have that?
if this is senior services, it's not mine.
Right.
It's actually Health and Human Services. But anyway, this is a funding to provide intense case management, outreach, interagency management, oversight to clients who possess severe and barriers to employment and have been receiving benefits for over 60 months. This is basically a program that's designed to help people to continue transition when they haven't been able to, even though they've been longer-term beneficiary of support, haven't been quite able to get there yet, and this program provides for that type of assistance.
Okay. All right. Because I saw members exiting with Mr. Vore. I hope that they weren't here waiting to speak, but in pertaining to.
We're done. We're done.
Is there clarification or no? Okay. All good?
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah.
Mr. McInerney?
Is this done internally, or will these funds be allocated to outside agencies?
This is actually done internally, Frank, as far as I can see. I think there may be a little bit of outside, but it's primarily internal program.
Okay, division training.
Okay, Mr. Paul Vecchio?
No question.
Freeholders? Okay. Hearing none. Please list it, and let's move to resolution. We do 15.
15, again, is a budget insertion. It's money from the Department of Labor and Workforce Development. It's called Smart Steps Program. This provides funding for counseling and administrative costs associated with the Smart Steps program, and it provides financial assistance to individuals not eligible for TANF or GA programs and helps them attend additional education on a full-time basis. Again, sort of working with people in the gap between those who are receiving support and helping them get additional education on their way to employment.
Okay. Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Mr. Paul
No
Vecchio?
questions.
Freeholders? Okay. Hearing none, list it, and please move to resolution 16.
Item 16 is a program through, the state of New Jersey, the Prosecutor's Insurance Fraud Reimbursement Program. This is a program that the prosecutor runs to provide for, particularly, and they've gotten very good at providing for insurance fraud investigations, particularly with respect to medical insurance and arson and structural fires. It provides for $245,000 for staff funding and $5,000 for training. And this is the same amount of money we received last year.
Mr. McInerney?
That's a good allocation that goes to actually staffing, $245,000 out of $250.
Can you say that last part again?
I said it's a good amount that actually goes towards actual staffing, $245,000 out of $250. So it's actually programmed, it's all program related.
Mr. Paul Vecchio?
And I think it was this one. There's no match required for this, is there?
No, there's not.
That's good, too.
Okay. Freeholders? All right, Mr. Jackson, 17?
17 is also with the Office of the Prosecutor. This is for a program that deals with victims of the Crime Act, and it's particularly the Victim of Crime Act Fund Program. It provides for additional assistance and support for individuals who are the victims of crimes as well as their families in the amount of $754,222. It does require a match of $185,556, which we use through our salaries. And there's also, excuse me, there's also a participation resolution, which is number 18, which will be required by the state for us to, I apologize, 17 is the actual resolution and 18 is the budget insertion. So this 17 is the resolution that allows us to participate in the program, and 18 is the budget insertion.
Mr. McInerney?
No question.
Mr. Paul
No questions.
Freeholders? Okay. Please list it. Resolution 18.
Again, I just noted, Madam President, this is the budget insertion. Item 17 was the participation resolution. This is inserting the $754,000 into the budget.
Okay. Resolution 19.
Resolution 19, also with the Office of the Prosecutor, is approving participation with the State of New Jersey in a federal grant program administered by the Division of Criminal Justice, and it's to operate a response team particularly geared toward victims of sexual assault in Essex County. The funding is an amount of $114,114 and an in-kind match of $40,279. And this is the resolution for participation. And item 20 is inserting money for that in the budget.
Mr. McInerney?
No questions, Madam President.
Mr. Paul Vecchio?
Mr. Jackson, you said 19 and 20 go together? 20 is the insertion of 19?
Through you, Madam President, that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Freeholders? All right. Please move to Resolution 21.
21, Madam President, is a budget insertion to insert revenue from the State of New Jersey, Department of Transportation for Irvington Avenue Streetscape Projects, Phase 2, in the amount of $702,000. These will be streetscape improvements to the Maplewood Corners area, Irvington Avenue, Parker Avenue, and Clifton Avenue, the three-prong intersection. This is a commercial hub and gateway into the towns of Irvington and Maplewood, and it's part of a study that was done with the cities of Newark, Maplewood, and Irvington to provide for improvements along this corridor.
Okay. 20, well, Mr. McInerney?
No questions, Madam President.
Mr. Paul Vecchio?
No questions.
Freeholders? 22.
22 is a budget insertion for the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over program with the Office of the Sheriff in the amount of $5,500. And this is the same amount we received last year.
Okay, Mr. McInerney?
No questions.
Mr.
No
Paul
questions
Vecchio?
for me.
Freeholders? Okay. And 23.
23 is another budget insertion in the amount of $9,724,071. This is for our annual transportation program. The majority of this money will go toward paving of county roads, and we'll be getting back to the board for a list of streets to approve. The good news is that this is almost double what we received last year as a function of the increase in the gas tax.
It's like gas tax, huh? We don't have enough taxes here in New Jersey, huh? That's a sarcastic comment for the record. Okay. Mr. McInerney?
This is twice as much as we got last year. And this money we get up front, too. Don't we?
Yes, this is, we got $4,773,000 last year. We're getting about $9,700,000 this year.
And they're going to give us a check tonight.
That's correct.
Because of the gas tax. I just
That's
want to make
correct.
sure I understand.
At least we're getting services.
I got it, I'll move it up. Okay. Mr. McInerney, is that sufficient?
Yes.
Mr. Paul Vecchio?
No questions.
Freeholders? All right. We're going to move up Resolution 48. Can you please speak to Resolution number 48, which will be read into the record? It's an added starter. Mr. Jackson?
Yes, this is a resolution relating to the earlier bond ordinance refunding that we did earlier, and it's to be filed with the local finance board.
This has to do with the ordinance that was just introduced. Right. Mr. McInerney?
No other questions, just the application of the local finance.
Mr. Paul
Nothing to add to that.
Freeholders? Okay. Please list it. And freeholders, do you have any questions or comments regarding resolutions 24 through 47? Freeholder Siebold.
Thank you. I'd like to be included on 45, 46, and 47.
45, 46, and which one?
47.
Madam President?
Yes.
I'd like to also be included in those.
Okay. Freeholders?
Ditto. And please add me on 30. I know it's Gil and Luciano, but I'd like to be added on 30 as well.
I would also. I'd like to be added on 30 also. I circled it, I forgot to say it.
Do you all want to speak to resolution 30?
Yes.
Although they're not here?
Yes.
Talk about the night of conversation?
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to speak to it?
Oh, no. Just want to be added to it.
I won't be added to it.
Freeholder Johnson? Freeholders? Okay. Hearing none. Freeholders, are there any questions or comments? And for the members of the public that are here tonight or at home watching on television, tonight's meeting is a conference board meeting, which generally issues are discussed as well as voted on. And also issues have been discussed in leadership meetings as well. Freeholders, are there any questions or comments regarding any resolutions 1 through 48?
And 3 is withdrawn by the
And
administration.
resolution 3 has been withdrawn by the administration. Hearing none. Is there any need to extract from a collective vote any resolution? Okay. Hearing none. Do I have a mover and a second to take resolutions 1 through 48?
I'll move it.
Second. Moved by Freeholder Bobadilla, second by Freeholder Siebold.
It was opposite. I don't care. Go ahead.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bobadilla.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Gill, absent. Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano, absent. Freeholder Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder Toro.
Yes.
Freeholder President Timberlake.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay. Are there any report of board committees? Any legislative reports? Any written communication? Any unfinished business? Any new business to discuss? Okay, now we're going to reopen public comment session. If there's any member of the public wishing to comment on any issue at all, please come forward, state your name and affiliation for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello, I'm Stacy Gregg. I spoke at the beginning. I just want to reiterate that I'm now in the proper portion of your meeting tonight, that the request in writing regarding putting this on the agenda or addressing these issues sooner because of the dire nature of our request tonight. I think there were at least 12 people this evening that spoke to the same number regarding anything to do with the budget, number 11. You made it clear that we're not against any of the things that you voted funds for, but we just want to know what portion, if any, came from the money that was made from the contract that was entered into until 2021 regarding housing of human beings. And we voiced our concern and opposition to continuing to allow that horrendous situation to continue another 30 days, another 3 days, another 3 weeks even. So with utmost urgency, I would ask you to add it to the agenda of next month. If you don't take any action with your meetings beforehand, I'd like to have you meet and discuss the contract and have a lawyer, your lawyer that you pay with the tax dollars from Essex County. I do have property in Essex County. I appreciate everything that you're doing, the improving of the roads, particularly Irvington Avenue that borders Maplewood. I'm going to say number 18 is a wonderful county budget line item revenue from the state of New Jersey. You have a matching funds of $180,000. It wouldn't make sense not to do it because for $180 you're getting $754. It's not going to be a great example. I don't know where the funds, revenue from the state of New Jersey on number 20 seems to be similar. I didn't get, you know, I'm very pleased to see that we have money going for sexual assault response team, forensic nurse examiner program, office of the prosecutor, $161,000. We desperately need it in the time of Trump. With him getting into office after the statements that he made, and he gave instructions to someone how to be a sexual predator, and he was still elected into office. This is, I urge you to look at this situation with this, and I apologize that you take offense. No offense is 30 seconds. No offense is meant regarding when we compare what's going on there to to Japan, to internment camps that we had going on. It's not the same situation. Let it go. Start today fresh. Is this a contract that you would want to have anything to do with? Please, I urge you to have conversations and have this on the agenda with your action if it hasn't been taken before then. Thank you for your time tonight.
Are there any other members of the public wishing to comment?
Hi there, my name is Maura Nelson from Bloomfield. Again, I just want to thank you for passing the resolution number 30 for Night of Conversation, and thank you, Freeholder Richardson and Siebold, for adding your names onto that. Much appreciated. And I hope to see you there on December 5th in Bloomfield. I'll be sure to follow up with an email so you have all the details. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public wishing to comment on any issue at all? Okay. Hearing none. Freeholders, we're closed. Oh, Mr. Cowboy, I'm sorry about that. Please
Good
proceed.
evening again. I'm Alright Cowboy, 48th District Leader down at South Ward, the home of Cowboy Ranch House. Wanted to speak on just a little bit more on the way that things have been done this year through the park and addressing the fields and putting more baseball fields and setting up the playground for the kids at and the recreation at this center. I would like to say that it's a lot added to the park, and it's bringing a lot of people into the park. And no matter what is being said, that I've been around the park almost like 24 hours a day, and I see a lot of things happening and what's going on. And I wanted to just speak on some of the things that have been handled in a way that when things weren't in the park, it's happening different now behind all the people coming into the park. There's a lot of adjustments have to be made. And I would like to say to what they're saying about the amount of porta potties in the park and about the way that things are done. It has doubled, tripled, and the things that are happening in the park, where the community room is being closed an hour earlier, and the kids are being there this 6 and 7 o'clock at night, where they close up the community center. And it's just not right that the people are still in the park and can't go to the bathrooms, and I think it's had to be some adjustment made on the way that the maintenance or whatever people is there that's handling the park. Maybe they have to be readjusted, and I would like for it to be checked on to where they check these things out and see that if something can't be done and brought more attention to what is going on in that park. And I was very pleased about the things that has been put in the park, and it's really loading up that park. And it's a beautiful thing to see that the people that can't get out the park and the kids can't get out the park. And it's a place for them to really build. And I'm going to help build on this. And I'm looking forward to being a bigger help this coming year. And being that you have been re-elected and been put in office, I'm glad to see that everybody is on board to make things better. Thank you.
Good evening, Douglas Freeman, Weekway Park Conservancy. I want to speak about Weekway Park. Previously, we came before you about the playground. We talked to Dan Savanti. It's buckling again, and there's plans for renovating and improving the Elizabeth Avenue playground. We want to vet the contractors a little better. We were supposed to meet with the contractor. They never showed up, never talked to the Conservancy. And we get phone calls from the parents and the actual maintenance staff that the actual foam is buckling. Now, Dan Savanti is looking into it, but this is something I just want to put on the record through you, Madam Chair, because as I recall, you did ask the contractor to speak with the Conservancy, and they never did. So this is something that we just want to put on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public wishing to comment? Okay, hearing none, we're closing public comment session. Opening freeholder comment session. Freeholders, any comments? Okay, hearing none, motion to adjourn?
Move it.